formally in societies now, well up into, well, for me, into the age of 27, is quite remarkable if you look back even 100, 200 years ago. Just like their hypercapitalism, elastic and flexible, these biographical narratives that people create become personal projects. People don't have ties to traditional social institutions anymore.
This decision, beginning with the political. So Poland's new strategy within the Third Republic's SLD party in 2003 was to maintain a working relationship with the United States while also maintaining their integration into the EU. Right? France stood strong with their veto power to object as they saw an unjustified war. Also, questions of legality and legitimacy of the war was also raised during this time.
Sure, American involvement in the state began with the so-called war on drugs, and which was later on transformed to Plan Colombia. The paramilitaries were supposed to fight with the guerrillas, but later on this conflict was also transformed into a conflict between the paramilitaries and the government.
They knew that they weren't supposed to talk about it, even if the person next to you was obviously doing something, you really weren't allowed to say anything. It cost about $20 billion through August, so 3 years, $20 billion. In the 1940s, it's a lot of money. And it was actually pretty vanilla ethics. If you read the manifesto, it's basically like, we're against war, and war is bad, and let's be nice to each other. It wasn't really profound in any way. What was profound about it was that it was coming from scientists. These aren't philosophers. These are not people who are activists, really.
In these times of rapid changes and growing diversity, we need to find a way how to overcome this. And in my opinion, I think that the Erasmus program is something that can help. As far as numbers are concerned, it's interesting to see that Poland is 7th out of 33 countries, which attract the biggest number of Erasmus students.
And one of my favorites, she kind of splits out integration factors again into this kind of hard and soft, into this functional aspects of integration, so housing, employment, education, and social integration. And she makes the case for, yes, you can be functionally integrated, you can function in a society. So in looking, how do you start putting these into sort of policy terms, you have UNHCR Warsaw saying, well, integration is language knowledge, it's economic self-sufficiency, access to welfare service, and this sense of social affinity.
Economic issues that have crossed border boundaries, and those implications of migration involve environment and legal issues, because with immigrants, you have to go through all these processes. Everything during apartheid was central to the government. They controlled everything in the country, so people were not even allowed to have a job.
For example, those are people who say that there should be no nationalism in pluralist societies or in the globalized world. The problem here is that it's just not academic. It might be philosophical, but these are prescriptive. They don't describe the world as it is. They prescribe the world they wanted. So there's a very clear us versus them distinction, which is essential in nationalism. Nationalism will always have that. It always tries to identify the other. So this party, it presents Europe or the EU.
So Fox News actually very actively organized Tea Party rallies. Several of their hosts were very actively involved in organizing rallies. They even organized a whole day where Tea Party rallies should be organized all over the country. Yes. Also the Democratic Party moved to the right automatically, because basically the agenda was being set by this radicalized Tea Party and their corporates.
Thank you very much.